Alright, let's take a look at IXL assignment CC.2 on solving a system of equations by graphing. So for this question, you are given two linear equations here, and at the bottom of the graph, you can click between each of these colored boxes so that you can indicate which line you are graphing. So I'm going to click on this purple box here, and that means I'm going to start by graphing y equals 1/2 x minus 6. So don't forget, in your equation, there are two values. Whether you can see both of them or not depends on the sentence. But for us, this value is where we begin. This is the y-intercept value. We plot a dot at -6, and then we have to plot one more dot or point by following this set of directions. So a slope is a rise over a run, and the top numbers are either up or down, and the bottom numbers are either left or right. So for us, 1 is positive, so that's up. For the denominator, 2 is positive, so that's right. So when we click with our mouse on this dot here, our next click will be 1 up and 2 to the right, and it will draw the line for us. So I'm going to start by clicking my mouse on -6, and then moving up 1 and 2 to the right, and clicking again. That is the purple line for y equals 1/2 x minus 6. Now I'm going to click on this orange or yellow box here, and I'm going to talk about the numbers in this linear equation. Now you can't see all of the numbers in this linear equation, but there is a number in the B position and there is a number in the M position. The B position can only be invisible if it's a 0, and the M position can only be invisible if it's a 1. So that means our first dot is going to be plotted at 0, and our second point, which we will follow the slope for, is going to be either up or down or left and right. And since our numerator is negative, that means we're going to move 1 down. Our denominator is positive, so that means we're going to move 1 to the right. So from our 0 point, we will move 1 down and 1 to the right. 1 down, 1 to the right. 1 down, 1 to the right. And that's the line we're going to graph. So I'm going to click my mouse on the origin at 0, and then -1 and +1. There's my second graph. This is the system. Two linear equations on one graph. This point right here is the intersection, and that is my solution. That intersection is my solution. So that's what they're asking me to type down here in the solution box. Don't forget, when you type your solution, that it has to be in this order. The x-coordinate, then the y-coordinate. So how did we get to that intersection point? We went 4 on the x-axis and -4 on the y-axis. So we're going to type 4, -4. Now let's do this again. My first graph here is 1/3 x plus 4. I'm going to click first on my y-intercept, which is 4, and then I'm going to move 1 up, 3 right. 1 up, 3 to the right, and click. That's my first graph in purple. Now I'm going to click over here for green, and I'm going to start at the y-intercept, which is -3. -1, -2, -3. Now be careful with your movement. The slope is -5/6. The negative should go with the top number. And now we choose. -5 is down, +6 is right. So we're going to move down 5, right 6. So from -3, we're going to move down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to move right, +1, +2, +3, +4, +5, +6, and click. That is our intersection point. The coordinate is -6 on the x and 2 on the y. -6 and 2. Let's try another one. My first one is the blue graph. I will start at +3. +1, 2, 3. Now I have to move from this blue dot in a direction that follows the slope. Now be careful, If you don't see a slope, it's an invisible 1 and 1. So that's 1 down and 1 to the right. Right? You don't get to use that negative sign twice. Once you use it for going down, you can't use it to go negative again. So -1, +1. There's our first graph. Now click over to the purple one, and we're going to start at our y-intercept, which is -5, and follow the slope. 5 is the rise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 is the run, +3, and click. That also happens to be our solution, or our intersection, and that is 3 on the x-axis and 0 on the y-axis. Again, my first purple line will be starting at -1, and it will go down to, but +5. My orange graph, click it, will start at -5, and its slope is +2 up and +5 right. Our intersection point is 5, -3. Okay, now this is a good one for me to go over because this second function here is missing a variable. So I'm going to graph this first linear equation. +1 is my y-intercept, and -1, +3 is my slope. Click over to the blue graph, which says x equals -6. So I have to go to the x-axis, and I have to draw a dot at -6. Now, because this is missing a letter, you have to know whether it's a 0 slope or an undefined slope. So it's missing a y, and it just states x equals -6. And anything with just an x is undefined. I can click anywhere along this line as long as x is always -6. So I'll click here because that's the intersection point. The intersection point is -6, 3. I'm going to jump up a next level here. In this next level, to get above a 70, you need to do some manipulation. You need to show that you understand that you can only graph an equation if the y is by itself. And in this equation, the y is not by itself. So in order to get a y by itself, I need to move any constants or coefficients. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract x. And that will give me a new sentence of -y equals -x minus 2, right? I keep everything the same because they cannot be combined. But now I have to do one more thing because the y cannot be negative. So I'm going to divide everybody by -1. That's going to give me a positive y, and a negative divided by a negative is a positive x, and a negative divided by a negative is a positive 2. And now I can start graphing. My y-intercept is 2, and my slope, which I can't see the numbers, is 1 over 1. Up 1, right 1. Up 1, right 1. Up 1, right 1. This is how I would graph this line. Now the second line is already in slope-intercept form, so I go down to -7. Oops. -2, sorry. No, it was +2. Oof. This line was like this. Okay, I have to click on the orange button before I can graph the second function. -7, and then I'm going to go -1, but then I have to go +2, because I can only use that negative sign once. My intersection point is -6, -4. And that's it.